Perfect. Got that stuff set. About forgot. Okay. On that note, thank you everybody that's here or in the Facebook group watching. Tonight is going to be really informal. I just want to give my kind of like overview guidelines. I'm sorry, the sun's so bad. On how I recommend navigating horse shows. And it's not only horse shows, but it's travel, to some extent vacations. I don't like people to feel very compelled to like adhere to a diet while they're on vacations, because vacations largely are about enjoying the experience, enjoying the people you're with. And a lot of that is really centered around food and our culture. So that's a whole nother subject, but it all determines on your goals, your timelines, and all of that. But for sure, horse shows are a very big struggle, and for reasons I'll get into. So that's the goal of tonight. I have no presentation. This is just kind of off the cuff, something I'm very, like I talk to clients about this all the time, and it's something that's very common struggled with. And I also know, I think at least a third or half of my roster right now maybe is getting ready to go to NSBA World, if they're not already in Oklahoma City for Youth World going on. So it's a very busy time of year. And then there's kind of like a little bit of a break, in September before Quarter Horse Congress starts. There's Quarter Horse Congress, there's, the World Show after that. So it's just like the height of show season. And if you're really trying to diet right now and make progress with your goals, you can't just take off all the time for the horse shows. Otherwise, it's hard to make progress right now because these horse shows are so big and take so much time. So with that being said, always well, let me back up. If you guys have questions or have comments or want me to further expand on something, please just either raise your hand, unmute, jump in. I want to answer your questions as we go along. I want this to be more informal and just conversational and help as best I can with everybody. So that being said, now we'll get started. So always the biggest point I have is, one, you need to decide what your intentions are for the event. So if this is the horse show, the trip, the work trip, the vacation, what are your intentions? Are you going to strictly stay on your diet plan? Are you going to try to stay as accountable as possible, but have a little more flexibility? Are you going to try to be at maintenance, which means you're just not going to gain any weight, you're not going to lose any weight while you're gone? Or is it really just going to be a full-fledged break? And the only thing I caution people about when it comes to full-fledged breaks is you don't want to get into the mindset of being like a binge restrict kind of thing. Like you're so adherent on your diet and you're so tight. And this comes into the play when your diet is probably too restrictive and you don't get to eat any of the foods that you really want to eat. So then when you're off plan or on vacation or at a horse show, you eat everything in sight because you're like, just can't get it in fast enough. So one, when you're at home and you're in your routine, your diet should be set up enough that you don't feel so ridiculously restricted that when you go on a trip or a horse show that you were just like shoveling food in your body as fast as you can. And I only say this out of my own experience from back in the day when I didn't know any better and I maintained myself on very, very, very low calories. And anytime I got outside of those very, very, very low calories, I ate like it was the Great Depression and there was no food left in the world. And then I would have like 10 days of water retention and bloat and miserable feelings and more exercise and more restriction. And it was just like a miserable cycle to be in. So you don't want to do that. So, your diet needs to be set up properly before you get into a binge restrict cycle. So back to my original point. What are your intentions for the event? You need to decide that up front. Like have a conscious, very, when you're in a good mental space, non-emotional, decide what your intentions are for the event. Then secondly, from there, make a plan. You don't have to follow the plan to perfection during the event. But if you don't have a plan, you're just going to be winging things, and winging things rarely works out for anybody. So make a plan. So if you want to be adherent through your horse show, what does that look like for you? What meals can you prepare to have convenient? What snacks can you prepare to be convenient? We all know when it comes to horse shows, convenience is key. You are, by the end of it, going to be sleep deprived, hungry, hot, tired. You're, for lack of a better word, you're just like, give a damn, or whatever is broken, and you're going to reach for whatever's convenient. So if what you have is very convenient, is the food vendor or the food truck or your Snickers bar or whatever, that's what you're going to do. You're not going to have any willpower. You're not going to talk yourself out of it. So plan for that. So like, worst case scenario, when Armageddon happens, like, what do you need to have available for you so that you have at least an option of something that's, better than what it had been previously. So that's kind of brings me to my next point. So also, some people think that when they start a diet phase, and at least in my experience with my clients, I teach flexible dieting. So we work on total calories targets usually, and then start incorporating some protein targets. And as long as you fall within that in your day, you're fine. You can use whatever foods you want. But if you, I just lost my train of thought here. What was I talking about, Jesse? Help me out.
I'm taking notes. Total calories, and then falling within your protein targets so that you're not going off key, but you're not watching every consumption point that you'd be watching.
Okay. So yes, that thank you. That helps me. I have my clients do that. So it's already much more flexible, but if you have a very rigid meal plan or meal structure or whatever, that's going to be hard. And it's going to be even harder when you get low on energy and whatever. So give yourself some grace to not be perfect at horse shows. It's okay. And this, I remember my point now. So I think people try to be like, when they start a diet, regardless of what it is, even if it's the perfect setup plan or maybe not the perfect setup plan, they try to be like, I got to be perfect now. I'm getting ready to go to a 5-day horse show, a 10-day horse show. I'm on this diet. I'm just getting started and I got to be perfect. I got to stay with it or I'm not going to stick with it at all. If I fall off the wagon, it's just not going to happen. But the problem is, if you try to be perfect, you're going to fall off the wagon because you're not going to be perfect at horse shows. Nobody is. I mean, I'll tell you that right now. You may get through like one of these experiences in your life where you have like everything go right and you win every class and there's no stress and you get to go to bed and your horse is great and whatever. And you're like, okay, this is amazing. Like maybe that happens for you, but it's not going to happen every time. So plan for everything to get chaotic. And so this is really hard for people to grasp, but you have to plan to be a little bit of a failure. And people don't like to be failures. So you need to set up whatever your goals are for the show. So let's rehash this. We decide our intentions, whatever our intentions for the show. We then decide what our plan is going to be for the show to meet those goals. And then you need to set up your bare minimums to allow you to make goals or allow you to experience success. So you cannot have your required behaviors at the horse show be as stringent or as big as maybe they are when you're at home and in a routine. So don't try to be perfect. If you try to be perfect or if you set up the perfect plan, you're going to fail. Unless you're a unicorn and you may get through it once, but you're probably not gonna get through it more than that. So don't try to be perfect. Expect to be failures. Make your task easy enough that you can accomplish them. So this is point number 3 or 4 or whatever I'm on now, is you set up bare minimums for the horse show. Instead of saying, I'm going to stay within like whatever calorie target you have set for you, or I'm going to track every morsel of food, or I am not going to drink any drop of alcohol when you get stressed or when you have your night out or your dinner out with your barn mates or whatever's going on, or you think you're going to go show without your morning mimosas or, whatever, power to you if you can do that. But set up intentions and goals that can be small enough that you are successful, because what the point of all of this is that you need to have start building belief in yourself that you can be successful and carry through with the plan. And to do that, you need to set those goals small enough. And it may seem really insignificant and like not a big enough deal for you to be celebrating any wins, but it really is. So if all of that means is you're going to make sure you get 3 servings of vegetables every day, and you can do that, that's a win. If it means you're going to go out with your barn mates every night for dinner, like it's custom in your barn, but instead of ordering the 600-calorie margarita cocktails or your Mai Tai or strawberry daiquiri or something, you're going to get liquor and a club soda with like, lemon or lime or something. So it's just all about scaling it back to a level of where you feel like you can be successful at. And you need to have the confidence going into it that you are 90% confident that that is something you can do and accomplish. So I tell my people that I've talked to this week already, in anticipation of an SBA or the quarter youth world going on right now, it's like, what are your bare minimums per day? And I usually like them that are really worried about this to like send me their bare minimums, and I'll look at them and kind of decide like, do we need to scale those back? Do I really feel like those are attainable? Because people just get in such a rut of trying to think that they need to have these like big lofty goals and set themselves up for that. And then what that does though is reality hits when you get to the horse show. You don't sleep. So when you don't sleep at horse shows, your hunger signals get all out of whack. You automatically have more hunger because your cortisol spikes, your leptin and ghrelin is out of whack. You are retaining more water, again, because the cortisol, the heat, whatever, not sleeping. You feel like a bloated whale. It just like it snowballs. There's stress. Maybe you did well. Maybe your trainer yelled at you. Who knows? So you have to plan to fail. And if you set these things where you can be successful at, though, you start to build confidence in yourself that you can actually like, hey, I did that. So then next time, maybe you can move the goalpost like one step further. So it's not like an overnight change, but this is why I'm like, it doesn't have to be so hard. And you don't have to go to horse shows and be like, I can't go out to dinner with my barn mates, or, I can't, what are your snacks at the stalls? I can't participate in any of the snacks that all the moms bring at the stalls, So it's just find one step better for now and do that really, really well. And then next time you can try and move one step better from that and then do that really, really well. So it's like a very much more incremental process. And then it's way easier for us to like accomplish in the moment without feeling this big jump from like here to here is where you have to get to perfect. So real quickly, one more note on going out to eat, which is really, really common, of course, at horse shows, is to go out to dinner where you guys are all done for the day or go celebrate or whatever. And I say at any restaurant, you can largely ask them or look for the menu for a lean protein, whether it's like a grilled steak, a grilled chicken breast, whatever it may be, and some type of non-starchy veggies. So maybe it's a side salad or steamed veggies. Don't get like, I'm not saying they have to be plain with no flavoring, or please salt and pepper is fine. I just say dressing, sauces, dips, whatever, put those on the side so you can control the amount they go on. But you can almost get something like that in almost any restaurant, even if it's not on the menu. There's like a way you can do that. If you really, in my opinion, that's like really staying on track when you're at a restaurant. So I also had a discussion with a client yesterday who is going to a horse show this weekend, and she was like, well, what happens when all my, barn mates order the chicken fettuccine or the carbonara pasta or whatever? And I'm like, I'm going to order the chicken breast, but I'm going to look at my sad chicken breast and feel like I'm missing out. And I'm like, that's fine. If it's too big of a step for you right now that you're going to look at the sad chicken breast and feel like you're missing out, then order the pasta. but maybe you either share the pasta with somebody, or you have them box up half of the pasta so you can take home for another meal, or you order the pasta, but then you don't also eat the bread, or you don't also eat drink 5 cocktails, or you don't also get dessert. It's like, where in the whole spectrum of all of it does it make sense for you to be one step better, regardless of what everybody else thinks? That's not important. It's just like, where's the one step better for you? And that's what you need to focus on and do that. So trying to think, I had another point with her. She was, I can't remember. But anyway, so on that note, there are a couple, let me see if I'm missing anything here. So we decided to decide on intentions, have a plan, aim for better instead of perfect. One other key point is just, it's okay to be hungry for, a couple hours. People kind of get this like anxious feeling that it's inappropriate to be hungry. You don't want to be hungry all day, because by the time you get to the end of the horse show, you're going to be hangry and pile driving food into your mouth, like I've said before. So that's not a good thing. But also, in our culture, we really are not comfortable with sitting with hunger for like a couple hours. And so that's something I like urge people to practice. Like, it's okay for a little while, not for all day. That's not okay. But for a little while it is. Decide on your minimums. If it's going to be a serving of veggies or greens per day, if it's going to be a 20-minute walk in the morning, if it's going to be non-sugary cocktails, but liquor and club soda or something instead, wherever that is, that's fine. Just one step better. And then lastly, anywhere, anytime you go, you can always fall back on the habit of just eating to 80% fullness. And that will serve you very, very well anywhere. I mean, whether it's pizza, pasta, barbecue, sushi. I mean, you can go to any restaurant. If you stay present enough, eat slow enough that you can stop yourself at 80% full, more often than not, like, you're going to come out ahead on that, because people get into autopilot and just shovel in food as fast as they can, and they miss the point of staying at 80% full. And really, if you're at that 80% full level, more often than not, then that's fostering like a weight loss mindset. So I do have my whole horse show survival cheat sheet. I have like a couple or a handful of snack recommendations in there, a bunch of other things, which I'm sure most of you have seen. So that's always available. It's posted in the Facebook group, and I can send it to you too if you don't know where to find it. But on that note, I will open it up for any questions that you guys have. Check the Facebook group. All right, no questions or anything. Nothing I can clarify for anybody. All righty. Well, that's really all I had. I could talk like a whole day on this stuff. I could go in a whole deep in the weeds, and so I don't want to hang on to you guys too long tonight. So I appreciate everybody showing up here in the Facebook group, watching the recording, all of it. And Connie, I see your t-shirt and I love that. So thank you. And everybody that's getting ready to go show, good luck this summer. Good luck in the next few shows. It's a big time and an exciting time of year. And we will talk to you guys soon.